Who's that? There's that big man. Who's that? There's that big man.
V1. Rotate.
Welcome back to the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a couple of things I wanted to do before we approach our top of descent, which, by the way, should be in about, 80, 90-ish nautical miles, but that might change slightly. So, our flight plan currently has us going from waypoint Uvodi to Rilno. Now, Rilno is on the charts, but it's kind of makes for an awkward last turn. So let's just go to the plan page. Actually, we'll do it on this side because since we're already in this McDo, go to this change. So we've got Uvalde and then Rilno. There is another waypoint that kind of brings us more into a straighter in kind of a configuration, which is Lasul. We type in Lasul, L-A-S-U-L, right here, like so. And then we zoom in a little bit. You'll see it kind of makes a little bit of an awkward turn there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from Uvalde straight to Lasul because our heading off of Lasul is 050. So it kind of makes like an awkward turn over Lasul. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll clear Rilno. Did I do that correctly? I believe I did. And we do that. There we go. Uvalde to Lasul. Then from there, what we can do is we can plug in our arrival, which is runway 23, VOR Bravo, no star. So we put that in, and Lasul comes up again, so we'll just go ahead and clear that one. What has that done? That. Valdi, Lasul, good. And then FE20... and then SPL. Right, so SPL is our last waypoint. So let's go ahead and put that in. We're actually going to have to take manual control before that, because if we have a look at the chart, which I'll put up on the bottom of the screen over here, you can see that we do have Lasul, and then our FAF, our final approach fix, is 5 DME from SPL, or the Split VOR, which is on frequency 115.7, but I can just do the cheaty little thing and do SPL. No, that's too many letters. That's still too many letters. We can do this. There we go. 180 nautical miles away. That's the one we want on that one. Is there anything we want on the other one? No. We'll go for double redundancy. We'll do this on the other side as well. I can't do that. Oh well. SPL. We do have some sort of ATC. Adriatic Center, please contact me on 130.0. All right then. 130. Come on. I guess I can go this way. Cool. What is your name? Oh well, we'll just go with Center. Center, how you doing? Aegean 855 A320 flight level 320.
Aegean 855, object is basically 5200.
I believe you said squawk 5200, Aegean 855. Is that what he said? I think that's what he said.
Aegean 313 VT 50360.
Whatever. Okay, so back to the chart. So we've got Lasul, we've got 5 DME from SPL. Then it's 2 SPL. Then it's outbound 050 manual to 3.4 DME. Then it's a left-hand turn to final, not crossing past 4.6 DME. Let's have a quick check of the weather at Split. It is basically calm winds, 360 at 4. Temperature is 13. Put that in the wrong one. Whoops. 13. The QNH is 1016. Like so. And our MDA, according to the chart, is 2040. There we go. So that's all done. So that may have moved our top of descent just slightly. I don't think it's going to be too dramatic anyways. Are we still about 80 miles? Yeah, we're about 60 miles out. Cool. So what does this guy control exactly? Let's have a look. So we were here, Kirkira, and we are flying to here, Split, and we are here. And where is this guy? ADR. He doesn't show up on a map, so that's interesting. Maybe he's kind of like a region. Interesting. Anyways. That's fine. We'll stay with this person. Whoever he may be. Alright, so the little knobby goes to below. I do love VATSIM, but this guy sounds like he's broadcasting from, like, inside a tin can that's inside a tin can. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the audio codecs, but whatever. Aegean 355 is ready for descent. Hello? Did that not get through to the tin can? He's been a great controller. He's fantastic. I have a feeling we're gonna bust our top of descent here. Center Aegean 355 ready for descent. Come on. Descent flight level 120. Flight level 120, Aegean 355. There we go. And down we go. Throttle idle, descent. Alt in blue, nav still in green. We're good. The QNH over there is 1017. So I will do my quick little cheaty trick of doing that. There we go. We can leave the seatbelt signs off for a little while. There's nothing around. And we still got a while to go for the descent. So that's what we'll do. Next waypoint in about 80 miles or so, Uvodi. And then, as we mentioned prior, we are going straight to, what was that other waypoint called? It was called Lassol. So we're going straight from Uvalde to Lassol. And then from there inbound to the Split VOR. 5 DME prior to that. We are going to disconnect the automatics, fly it towards the VOR manually. The rest of the approach will basically all be visual, which is fun, something new, and I promise you that the scenery... Do I even have that? Direct to the Delta Victor November VOR. Confirm Aegean 355? Oh, he private.
Go down.
DVN. Delta Victor November. That's not on my flight plan, but whatever. Alright. Where is that? Okay. Hang on. Hang on. I gotta see what this is doing. Delta Victor November. Why would we be going there? Center Aegean 355 reads you 5x5. Requesting the VOR approach, runway 23 to split. Alright, I just typed it in because that wasn't working, so we'll see if that finally goes through. I'm also still a little bit concerned about this weather here ahead of us. Awesome. Direct the split VOR Aegean 355. How do you read now? And we were given descend to 5,000 via, sorry, with the QNH. So, direct SPL. SPL. Is in there. Insert down to 5,000. We are now high on the profile. And we are also going to go through this weather.
1, 2, 4, 7, my airspace income 1 to the
I would, you know, normally I would just deviate around this weather, kind of weave my way around, but this guy doesn't seem to be able to hear me, and we're kind of a little bit close to start deviating now anyways. My hope is that we're going to descend below it, but not extremely hopeful on it. The airplane is struggling to catch up with the profile, so what we're going to do is we're going to help it out with a little bit of the old speed brake here, since we are a little bit on the high side. Oh, that does not look like good weather. Hang on. We do that. What's the TAT? That's another thing we need to start worrying about. Where's the TAT on this thing? Anybody? Should be here, right? Ah, TAT, -10. Cool, so that's going on. Just in time. Still above profile. Help it out with a little bit more speed brake. And do 3/4.
Aegean 855, descend 2,500 feet to level by Sierra Papa Lima and clear for the visual approaching rate 2-3. Call me landing site.
Descend 2,500 by Sierra Papa Lima and cleared for the visual 2-3. Aegean 355 will call the field in sight. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is at SPL 2005. Oh, no, I want slash 2,500, like so, insert. How's that work out for our profile? Still above. And there's the precip hitting us as we go through these, ooh, rather violent clouds. Seems to be smooth for now. I am keeping an eye on this cell over here. I'm gonna add a little bit more speed brake. Go full speed brake as we try to descend here. We're also gonna need to slow. Getting rocked around by this weather right now. So the good news is most of this weather is to the south of the field. There's not too much extending. I mean, there's kind of a gap here where we're basically going to be flying. So it's SPL and then 050 for 3.4 DME and then our turn to final here. So it looks like there's just a little bit of a break in the weather, but this is absolutely atrocious. So glad we put those seatbelt signs on because this is quite a bumpy ride. Alright, we'll go there and we'll do that. Not too concerned with the terrain at this point. We might switch the ND tasks when we get a little bit closer, but why? There we go. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to dial down the weather a little bit. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so you can still see a faint outline on the weather, but what's taking up the majority of the screen. Whoops. Do that. I want the other one. You know what? Screw it. I give up. That looks good to me. So we're inbound to the split VOR. Got 20 nautical miles to go. Got to level off and slow down. I do want to configure early here. Atrocious weather. No point in putting the windscreen wipers on because there's not much to see outside anyways at this point. Alright, back in the flight deck. We are back on the profile here, the vertical profile. We should be coming up to our, here's our deceleration point. So that'll automatically start to slow the aircraft. What a bumpy ride. This is not going to be an easy landing, ladies and gentlemen. Probably should have turned these on quite a while ago for visibility. We'll do all of this quite early because I don't want to have to faff around with any of it. As for the outside air temperature, TAT is now +6. We can go ahead and ditch these. And we've got our vertical deviation here. Continuing to descend, we are actually even accelerating a little bit. Hopefully the idles are throttles rather are showing idle. So as we pitch below here, I think what the aircraft is going to do is it's going to try to level off a little bit to try to bring that speed back in check. And what we'll do is we'll help it out every time it goes below the double hash marks. We'll bring out the next stage of flaps so that we can continue to slow down here. So remembering it's a 050 out of SPL. And at 5 DME, we do have to be, that is the FAF, so that's basically the visual point. We are going to be below the weather, so that's not a problem. Visibility is good underneath it. It was just getting through that initial layer of all of that weather. So we should be good here. There's the double hash mark, so I'm going to bring out flaps 1 now. We're also going to arm the old speed brakes, since they've been brought in. And we are going to set our auto brakes to low, like so. Still getting quite tossed around here. As soon as we get under 200 knots, that's when I'll bring out the next stage of flaps. Probably keep it at about 160 on the downwind leg, and then as we come up to 3.4 DME, which is our turning point towards the runway, that's when we'll bring it all the way down to the approach speed, which in our case is the approach is 134. Surface winds, let's have a quick check. 350 at 6, so not too much on the surface. There's 200 knots. Coming up with the next stage of flaps. Bring this all the way into 10. Bring this down to 160. Or thereabouts. Leveling off here at 2500. There's 5 DME from SPL. Automatics coming out.
Demonstrations in radio check.
Aegean 355 reads you 5x5. Okay, so we'll level off our descent here as we come up to SPL. There's the field. We have the field in sight. Bring out the Conf 3. And I'm also going to bring out the gear as we make the right-hand turn here to 050. So, flight director's coming out.
Still broken. So
there's the field directly at our 12 o'clock. There's where we're going. We're gonna make a left-hand turn into the valley there. All right, coming up to SPL. 1.8 miles to go. Aegean 355 is over the split VOR. We have the field in sight. Just looking for a landing clearance now. Nothing complicated.
Aegean 355, so you broken this is text.
I'm not going to text him because I'm concentrating and I'm manually flying the aircraft here. So here we go. Now we're allowed to descend below 2500. We'll follow the vertical deviation. We will manage the speed fully, like so. Roll out of the turn at 055. Continue descending. Do about 600 feet a minute. Gear's coming out. Clear to land runway 23, Aegean 355. Bring it back a little bit over to the left. Gonna arrest that descent just a little bit. We're gonna bring out conf full. There's flaps full. Now we're a little bit to the right. We want to aim pretty much for the mountain there, which is kind of unnerving. Oh, a little bit of a gust of wind. Lost our vertical deviation. We want to keep this descent going. That balloon was definitely due to the extra flaps coming out, so we're gonna have to catch up to that. The mist is, I believe it was 3. That was the minimum altitude, so we will plug that in. Minimum, we are landing at 3.4 DME, which is in just a bit here. We're gonna start our left-hand turn, not exceeding 4.6 DME from SPL. So look on the ND, bottom left corner. We have the DME. We cannot exceed. I'm going to arrest this. This is a little bit too fast of a descent here. We'll try to keep it around 700-ish feet per minute. We cannot exceed 4.8 DME. So if we start getting a little bit close to that, that's when we have to start worrying. 4.3, 4.4. The wind is really picking up now. Keep the descent going. 4.4. I think we should be okay. I'm gonna square it off a little bit. We're a little bit on the high side. I do want to bring it down a little bit more, even though it looks like we're going straight into this terrain. Bring it down to 700-800 feet a minute. We're at 4.5 DME, so we're well within that arc now. As a matter of fact, even to a fault. Maybe a little bit too much. Keep that descent going. I have the field in sight. We're going to make this tight left turn here from base to final. Now that's 1,200 feet a minute. That's a little bit too much.
1,000.
I'm gonna start arresting that descent. We've got 4 whites. Not looking great, but I think we've got this. Start a gentle left-hand turn. We'll tighten it up a little bit closer to final. There we go. Definitely no danger of terrain anymore. It's a little bit too much of a roll rate. Coming down a little bit quick. See if we can get this in.
500.
1,100 feet per minute descent. We always have the option of going missed. I'm pretty comfortable with this. 3 and 1 now. 2 and 2. We can start arresting the descent.
300.
We don't want to go low. There we go. Rolling out of the turn. Runway's
200.
directly ahead of us. Just minor corrections now. Oops, starting to get a little bit low. Arrest the descent.
100.
That's looking good. Beautiful. Completely visual.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Bring the nose up. Bring the throttles back.
5.
Oh, a little bit of a bounce. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Little bit of a bounce. I'm going to take it as a small victory. That's fine with me. Reverser's out. Speed brake's out. We do want to come to a stop rather quickly here on the runway. There's 80 knots. 60 knots. Reverser's coming in. I'm all over the place. Not really tracking the center line, but that's okay. There's 50 knots. Manual braking. Whoops. A little bit of asymmetrical braking. We'll roll it out here to the end. Turn it around. Yeah, not the greatest landing. I'll take it. You know, anything in this bus that's that complicated, I'm using excuses already. It's all good. That controller is just having a world of problems right now. Disconnecting, reconnecting. Okay, so do we turn left or right out of here? Is what I want to know. Let's go left and then come back around via the center line. That sounds like a plan to me. There's no markings or anything on the ground here? No, of course not. Why would there be, right? Okay. So we'll swing it around over here to the right at the threshold. Want to be looking out our right-hand side window. We'll taxi it back on over to the stand. Dab of brakes here. Vacate the runway. Have to pass these white lines, and now I completely don't understand anything that's on the ground. What are these taxi markings? Whatever, I'm gonna follow this line. I don't know. Ramp crew's already waiting for us at the terminal here. Stand is number 4. I'm not even going to bother with the APU. We're just going to go straight to ground power and ground air. Just because by the time it spools up and gets ready and everything, there's no real point in doing it. So these can go off. These can definitely go off. That can go completely off. That can go off. And that's that. I forgot to stop the chrono. I'm really bad with the clock in this thing. If there's one thing, I mean, I'm bad at a lot of things in this Airbus, but if there's one thing I'm definitely bad at, it's keeping track of the chrono. And apparently lead-in parking, but whatever. Okay, so this looks decently good. He's waving at us in a semi-straight kind of a way, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna dab the brakes a little bit. Waving at us, keep waving, and dab brakes again. I kind of want to I don't know why I want to impress this particular one. Hey, how's that? Okay, please cut engines. So that's the parking brake. Turn TrackIR off. We will not ditch both of the engines yet because... okay, everything's cleaned up, unlike last time. Shh, nobody noticed. We will turn off that one. And then we will establish ground power first. Menu, exterior controls, GPU. We'll wait on the air for just a bit. Exterior power. That goes on. And shutting down number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't the prettiest of approaches. I could probably do it better with a little bit more practice, but I'm going to leave it on there anyways. Welcome to Split in Croatia.